All right. Good morning, Mr. Crow. I'm at a special site, doing a real special video today with Abraham Lincoln Civil War connection here. We're at beautiful Rock Creek Cemetery in D.C., one of the oldest cemeteries in D.C., to settle the debate on where the remains lie of Lewis Powell. He's one of the conspirators in the Abraham Lincoln assassination plot. He attacked Seward and almost killed him. Then he ran up, hid in a vault, a cemetery vault, similar to this, up near Bunker Hill area, Bunker Hill Ford area, and eventually was tried and hanged by the neck until he was dead on July 17th, 1865. And then his remains were kept by a guy named A.H. Gawler, G-A-W-L-E-R. He was hired by the government and the military to keep track of the remains of all these people, mainly Lewis Powell. And so Mr. Gawler took the remains, Lewis Powell's remains, until 1870, were buried in the Washington Penitentiary grounds. In 1870, his remains were removed by H. Gawler and brought to Holmead's Burial Ground, Holmead', Holmead's Burial Ground, which is near the DuPont Circle area, about 5 miles from here. So, and then in 1884, they were closing down that cemetery, and they moved thousands of Caucasian bodies over here to Section K in Rock Creek Cemetery. And at that point, Mr. Gawler removed the skull of Lewis Powell from the skeleton, and his skeleton without the head was buried here. His skull was given to the military museum. And then I'll tell you later on about that. And so his remains lie here. The confusion about him going to the Graceland Cemetery was no, that's where the African American bodies were moved to. The Caucasian bodies were moved to here. And also they were shutting down Graceland at the time, so they would not, be trying to put bodies in there. So the African American bodies were eventually moved to Woodlawn Cemetery, which I just made a video of. I'm going to make some more videos of that. And so that's the connection. And then there's a myth that his body went to Geneva, Florida, but no, that was his skull. Real quickly, his skull was discovered in 1991 in the American Museum. They gave it to a niece who buried his skull on his mom's grave in 1994. But his Lewis Powell's remains never went to Graceland. That is part of the myth. It went from the Washington Penitentiary to Holmead's Burial Ground to Section K here in Rock Creek Cemetery Church. And so that's where I'm going to go into. And in my research, I also found out that Holmead's Burial Ground had one of the southern corners was dedicated to the War of 1812 veterans, mostly from Camp Hill, where the U.S. Naval Observatory is. And so I came out here looking around, and I noticed in Section K, you can see it. See how it looks like a Stonehenge circular thing where they're all looking in on the center bowl area? You see that? And then, of course, you're like, most, Christian, like the other parts, it's all in lines, and they're all facing, east. Their bodies, you're facing the sunrise, Well, these are all in a circle, all looking inward at this big blank area in the middle, which they didn't use for any burials anymore. And the original, and they started going down that hill, and they opened up that area in the 1930s past that road down there. So they've never used this area, and it's completely unmarked, in this area. A lot of loose gravel, it's depression, it's just a weird, bad juju area. And so I verified it, and this may be the only mark saying this is lot 23. It's on the side, and I'd have to dig it up to read the side. And I'm not digging in a cemetery. They'd probably throw me out if I did. It's too creepy anyways. But you can see these. In the 1800s, they used sandstone real thin sandstone. And when they move markers, by the way, they break a lot. I've done a video about a body that was moved from the soldier's home across the street over to here in 1947, and one of the headstones are very thin. It's sandstone. It breaks a lot. So all of these, I'll point out real quick. You can see that, excuse me, trying to be respectful here as much as possible. You can see War of 1812 veteran, War of 1812 veteran. Turn this guy around. War of 1812 veteran. There's another one over there. Mostly all of these are War of 1812 veterans or their relatives and stuff. You can see these are all thin sandstone that they used in the 1800s. You can see the dates. I've read the dates, you know. But like I said, I can tell 1800 because they used, you know, thin sandstone. We use thicker, you know, marble and stuff like that. So they're all facing, you know, inward towards this depression over here. I think this is a War of 1812 medallion here. Oh, wow, check this out, a revolution. I'm gonna do a separate video on this. So you can see, 1823. So in 1823 he's buried in Holmead's burial ground, and then in 1880s was moved over here, and so it's all facing this inner, you know, so it all matches up. Here's the 1812 veterans from Holmead's burial ground. Here's the big area they face, a big depression area, and so this is the unmarked mass grave containing about 1,600 people from Holmead's burial ground, and the headless remains of Lewis Powell, the Powell Conspirator. He was a piece of excrement. He was born in Alabama in 1844, joined the insurrection, joined some kind of mob in Louisiana, and was wounded in Gettysburg, joined the Mosby's Rangers, war criminals, and then eventually became a spy for the Secret Service or whatever. He would wear civilian clothes in the day, and wear a uniform at night and do raids, and then eventually joined up with Booth, attacked Seward, like I said, and he was arrested and hanged. And there was all sorts of reports he almost got caught a few days before the attack because he tried to probably rape a black woman and assaulted her. He got arrested and stuff like that, but he got let out and let back on the streets and everything like that, and then eventually did the Seward attack, and he was hanged. He lay here. So hope this clears up the confusion. I know my research, and I can guarantee you Lewis Powell's headless remains lie right here in an unmarked mass grave, Section K. May he not rest in peace. He was a piece of excrement, and he was part of the plot to kill the greatest president ever. And so I'm still sore about it. Take me a while to forgive him. So he gets purgatory for 7 billion zillion years, and then maybe I might forgive him. So atone for your sins, Mr. Powell. And appreciate you stopping by. If you can help pay my phone bill, my bus fare and stuff, traveling around the city, getting meals, stuff, I appreciate it. PayPal is at Craig Gillette, and appreciate him. $5 can help me, little bus fare and stuff like that. Appreciate it. YouTube won't let me put up, you know, the thanks thing and run ads and all that stuff. I had a bunch of copyright violations 10 years ago, and they just put you in purgatory. Speaking of purgatory, so they don't like bottom feeders like me. So if you could bypass them and just go straight to my PayPal and help me out at Craig Gillette, I'd appreciate it. More videos.